Hello there everybody, so paranoia and welcome back to Higurashi. Now then, in the last episode, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Last episode, we finally got to see some Oishi interactions. To be honest, I was kind of waiting for that. I was waiting to bust out this voice, to be honest. It's one of my favorites. Anyway, one thing that was brought up, it's pretty interesting. Instead of Keiji, it was Rena this time that was brought out to his car to talk about the, dead Toмотaki and the, But, let's see what happens next. Before I can make more theories, I need to know more here. Whoa, what the hell? About homing ability and homesickness. If you interpret homing ability in a broad sense, you can say that most animals have a homing ability. It's the same with humans. We like to sleep, rest, and eat at a place where we feel comfortable, namely our homes. Your home to you is what nests are to animals. And therefore we can say that humans have a homing ability as well. Oh, it's like somebody's reading a book. First of all, why do animals need nests? Well, to be honest, they need a home. The answer is the same for humans. Sleeping, resting, and eating are the essential actions for survival. At the same time, those actions leave one defenseless as well. And that's why we need to have a safe area where you can be defenseless. Everybody knows that not having this safe area gives you a high stress level. When you move an animal to a new environment, it gives the animal a great amount of stress. When you force a person to live in a foreign land where the person isn't comfortable to live, it gives the person a great amount of stress as well. Everybody also knows that the stress is called homesickness. The Japanese don't know much about homesickness yet. That's because we defined it as a mental weakness, and we neglected to treat it for a long period of time. However, homesickness has a very long history. In Europe's Middle Ages, the people believed that it wasn't a mental, but a physical disease. People also believed that among all the peoples, the Swiss got the disease most. And that's probably because the Swiss were known as an ethnic group that worked away from home in that era in Europe. Sorry. They lived far away from their homes. There was no telephone at that time, so they couldn't even hear their families' voices for a long time. It's easy to imagine that the young Swiss workers got homesick while working in a strange land. These Swiss who got homesick wanted to go home, but they couldn't because of their jobs. The conflict made them weak physically and mentally. Some of them went crazy and tried to escape from their reality by committing suicide or running away. This is kinda dark. The Swiss at the time believed the superstition, and many folk remedies and occult-like treatments to prevent homesickness went around. Since going home was the only treatment, they must have called it a fatal disease. But this isn't really a disease. Specifically, homesickness is a sign of the human homing ability. Your brain desires to go back to your safe area, namely your home. At first, your brain makes you remember the happy memories of your home, and it urges you to go home in a natural way. But when reason stops you from achieving your desire, your brain starts sending unnatural signals to your body. As a result, your body gets weak, and that makes it more difficult for you to live in a strange land. In the end, you have to bend reason in order to achieve your desire to go home. So the homing ability brings homesickness. If your homing ability is strong, it brings you stronger homesickness. The strength of the homing ability varies from individual to individual, and depends on the environment the individuals live in. When your home is safe and the environment you live in is dangerous, your homing ability gets stronger. When the environment you live in is safer than your homing ability gets weaker. Safety isn't the only element that affects the level. Culture is also involved. Each and every region has a different culture, and some of them set a high value on families to gather at turns of events. So, the region you came from affects the level of your homing ability as well. We're learning stuff today. Considering these parameters, the mountain hermits of Onigafuchi are considered to have had an extremely strong homing ability. The mountain hermits of Onigafuchi forbade the villagers from leaving the village. It's considered that the savage principle of the fittest that I described earlier and the pollution of consciousness are deeply involved. The people today still strongly believe that Oyashiro-sama puts his curse on you if you break the rule and bend. Oh wait, is this oh god, this is Mio Takano's notes, isn't it? Aren't they? If you break the rule and abandon the village, the superstition can be interpreted as homesickness. If the homing ability is directly proportional to homesickness, the term curse is an indicator of the level of homesickness and the strength of the homing ability at the same time. I assume that they hated the lower world and created a closed society because of their strong homing ability. Unfortunately, there's no way to measure the strength of the homing ability that the people of primitive Onigafuchi had. That's because it was strongly forbidden to leave the village, so nobody left the village long enough to get homesick. However, things changed after the Meiji era. The sacredness of Onigafuchi dwindled because of the modernization. Many young people started longing for city life, and some people were forced to leave the village to get a job. As a result, villagers started venturing outside the village borders. That was when the mountain hermits of Onigafuchi realized how strong their homing ability was for the first time. The residents of Hinamizawa got extremely homesick. After a while, people started to call the homesickness the curse of Oyashiro-sama. It became rumored that a person who left the village to get a job was cursed in a strange land, and that he went crazy and died. And people who had left the village started coming back to the village or the nearby town. Their homesickness and homing ability were very strong because of their culture. It's reasonable to think that they were cultivated by the unique worship of Hinamizawa, namely, the worship of Oyashiro-sama. From the moment they were born, they were taught the rules of Oyashiro-sama. They must have felt guilty about leaving their village unconsciously. As a result, they considered homesickness to be the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I'm not sure if their homing ability got stronger because of the rules of Oyashiro-sama, or if they made the rules of Oyashiro-sama because their homesickness got stronger. I don't know which came first. Oh, I guess we're back to Rena, but the text is different.
I get tired of reading the small print, and I lay down on the floor on my back. The true identity of the curse of Oyashiro-sama is homesickness? Mio-san believed my story, and she let me read these scrapbooks. That's why I expected to find something interesting. But what it's saying is that the answer to it all is homesickness, which many doctors told me so many times at counseling. I'm a little upset. The word homesickness can't explain the extraordinary experience I had.
No, it can't. I don't think it can.
I saw Oyashiro-sama come down to me with a bright light in the bathroom. I saw the dusky red nasty maggots come out of my blood vessels. This scrapbook doesn't explain any of that. I don't understand how Mio-san was going to explain the cloud of maggots. Or maybe she didn't have any explanation of that to begin with. Was it just a delusion? I flipped through the other scrapbook Mio-san let me borrow, looking for the explanation of the maggots I saw. Then I find it. It has the exact title I was looking for.
About maggots and the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Whoa! Oh! Oh boy. Finally, we're going to get to see something about this, too. In the Meiji era, a group of villagers were on their way back to Hinamizawa, and they started talking about a rumor about a weird disease. They said that maggots started coming out from the wounds of a person who left Hinamizawa, and that the maggots ate the person's body from the inside. The Shinto priest of the Furude shrine at that time explained that the weird disease was a sign of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. According to the word of mouth, the Shinto priest showed the villagers an old picture scroll, and he told them that the story of the maggots had been passed down through the ages. This is what the scroll said. The land of the demons, where the demons came from, is interpreted as the land of death. And the demons in the land of death had to live their lives while the maggots ate them. The villagers, who are of demons' blood, had nothing to worry, as long as they lived in Hinamizawa under the protection of Oyashiro-sama. But once they left Hinamizawa and the protection, the maggots that had been sleeping in the blood of demons would start to wake, and they'd eat their bodies from the inside. This disease of the maggots scared the villagers for a while, and the people asked the shrine to provide them with protective talismans whenever they had to leave the village on business. This is interesting because it jives with the prevention of homesickness that Swiss Middle Ages did. After the war started, the delusion of the disease of the maggots faded away, but there was still the custom to send talismans to families that lived away from Hinamizawa. The talismans had the word maggots on them. But the most interesting part about this is that the residents of Hinamizawa didn't know about the disease of the maggots until the rumor started. I thought that their worship unconsciously made those people think of homesickness as the curse. Therefore, this case contradicts my study because those people talked about the maggots without having previous knowledge. It's natural to think that the group of people who were on their way back to the village were lost in a mass delusion because they strongly believed in the curse, and that the Shinto priest took advantage of their state of panic to instill faith in them. But I'm not fully convinced that the mass delusion coincidentally matched with the story in the old picture scroll. I wonder if it's possible to see maggots in a wound without having previous knowledge when the person is cursed by Oyashiro-sama. I wish Oyashiro-sama would put his curse on someone I could study. I'd love to see maggots coming out from someone. Oh boy.
I feel as if Mio-san is here and asking me the question. I remember. When she gave me the scrapbooks, she said that I might be the only one who would understand it. I feel good for just for a moment, because I found out that the maggots weren't a delusion. But at the same time, it cuts off my excuse that it was a delusion. The maggots weren't a delusion. They were there. All of a sudden, my wrists, elbows, inner thighs, and neck start itching. I feel the urge to cut open a blood vessel, but I quietly hold it down. I remember that Mio-san looked very serious when I talked about the maggots. She must have thought it was creepy, but so did I. While I was crying because nobody believed me, a part of me didn't want to believe that my body was filled with the creepy things. I think that part of me wanted to believe that it was a delusion, but now I know it wasn't. It wasn't a delusion. There are some people who had the same experience. Maggots in demons' blood will wake when you lose the protection of Oyashiro-sama. In other words, they may not wake under the protection of Oyashiro-sama, but all the villagers still have the maggots in them without knowing it. People of demons' blood are people who have the creepy maggots in their bodies. I try not to jump to conclusions, and I flip the pages again. I unconsciously look for something related to maggots.
About parasites and host control. The disease of the maggots made me think about something. Is it possible to say that the extremely strong homesickness of Hinamizawa was an infectious disease caused by some kind of parasite? Now, I'm not trying to connect the maggots they saw with parasites. I'm trying to think about the possibility that their culture, worship, might be associated with an infectious disease. Most of infectious diseases are caused by parasites. A parasite needs a host. It wants to live within the host's body for as long as it can. The best way to do that is to coexist with the host without the host knowing it. But some parasites try to control their hosts and use them for prosperity. Well, that's true, there are some weird parasites that can turn some insects into like these creepy little zombie insects. I think there was one parasite I saw that actually was able to control a praying mantis for a while. For example, parasites that use intermediate hosts have an ability to control the host in order to allow a superior host to eat the intermediate host. A typical example is the Dicrocoelium dendriticum. Dicrocoelium dendriticum. Blech. It uses snails or ants as its intermediate hosts, and it controls the intermediate host to move to the top of vegetation so that it's easier for a superior host to eat it. One parasite that controls big animals is called Toxoplasma gondii. It uses mice as its intermediate hosts, and its superior hosts are cats. This parasite makes a mouse lose the repellent action towards cats in order to increase the chance of getting eaten by cats, so that the parasite can live within cats. There are parasites that choose hosts randomly. The rabies virus is commonly known for that. It lives and breeds in the brain of a host, and it moves to the host's saliva through the salivary gland. It makes the host extremely aggressive in order to make it bite things randomly so that it can move into other hosts through the saliva from the wound. Huh. I learned something new. Many parasites have a similar ability to control hosts to their benefit. The examples I used above are about parasites that move into other hosts to prosper, but I think there's some kind of parasite that controls hosts in order to have a comfortable environment for it to live. I want to try to connect this theory to the abnormal homing ability and homesickness of the Onigafuchi residents. Let's say there's some kind of parasite that exists in Hinamizawa, and it lives within all of the villagers' bodies. For the parasite, Hinamizawa is the most comfortable environment to live in, so it gives the hosts a strong homing ability in order to make them stay in Hinamizawa. Furthermore, it causes the hosts to get homesick whenever they ignore the homing ability and try to leave the place. Sorry about my chair there. Parasites need hosts to live. It's convenient for them if the hosts build a community in the environment where it feels comfortable. This theory makes it easier for me to explain the mysteries I described earlier. The mountain hermits of Onigafuchi knew about the existence of this parasite. They knew that they couldn't live outside the village because they were the hosts. That's why they created the culture and rules that prohibit contact with the outside world. It also explains why people acted abnormally crazy during the dam conflict. So, the demons that came out from the swamp in the legend of Oyashiro-sama can be interpreted as a mass generation of the parasite. The story about the demons attacking the villagers must be indicating the behavior of the infected villagers who were controlled by the parasite. Oh.
This theory is too wild and crazy. I should just laugh about it. But I feel bad for Mio-san, so I decide not to laugh. Hinamizawa is controlled by a parasite? If I only look at the incident of the maggots that came out of me, I can explain it based on this theory. I feel a little bit dizzy because I'm so confused. A part of me thinks this is ridiculous, and another part of me thinks that this is more convincing than saying it's all about the curse. But I think Mio-san was erased because she wrote these scrapbooks. If so, the contents of these scrapbooks must be something that they can't ignore. They'll try to get all of her scrapbooks and shroud them in darkness. But what if they notice some of her scrapbooks are missing? I feel a chill running through my spine. I have to keep it a secret that I have these scrapbooks, and I have to try to understand more about the contents. I remember Mio-san told me that the three families are behind the series of the mysterious deaths, and that they're trying to revive the worship of Oyashiro-sama.
Well, I'm not entirely sure I can agree with that. I don't know everything yet.
According to the theory I just read, the parasite must be trying to maintain the current environment of Hinamizawa. Its best environment is a completely closed village, just like the primitive Onigafuchi. It must be very comfortable for the parasite if no hosts to go outside the village. They don't like the villagers who often leave the village for shopping. That means The parasite will try to goad the hosts into reviving the worship of Oyashiro-sama. I remember there was an article in the scrapbook saying that the demon's blood runs thickest in the three families. That means they have a larger amount of the parasites in them than the other villagers, and they're under control of the parasite. The three families seem to be planning to bring the village back to the Onigafuchi era. Reviving the Watanagashi festival after the dam conflict can be interpreted as their desire to revive the worship that started to fade away in the Meiji era. The three families, especially the Sonozaki family, have a big influence over the region and the public organizations.
Yep.
Well, what's going on here? This is supposed to be a poorly written theory, but the pieces fit together one after another. I've never played a jigsaw puzzle as crazy as this.
Neither have I. Wait, yes I have. Although it was a little bit crazier. Involved a bunch of witches and shit.
I'm confused, and I feel like my brain is swirling. A part of me thinks this is ridiculous, and another part of me thinks I might be about to expose the unbelievable truth. When I try to look into the center of it, I feel as if I'm going to fall into the swirl and drown. Oh. I have to devote myself to reading more seriously. There must be some truth to this. It caused misfortune and made my life miserable after I moved to Ibaraki. I might be able to find the truth, including the cause of the divorce of my mother and my crazy behavior. Right then I hear a knock on the door all of a sudden. It scares me. I hide the scrapbooks under the cushion.
Reina, you have a phone call.
A phone call? It's late. Who is it?
It's from a bookstore. Did you order some books? It's Oishi-san from the Okinomiya bookstore. Oh boy. Oh. Well, there's the halfway point. Whoopsie. Okay. There's a time for some more Oishi. Oh, are we back to Keiichi? I open the windows, but all I get from there is heat and the cry of the cicadas. Ah, it's so hot.
Yes, it's so hot.
It's break time between classes, but we can't really get any rest. Mion and I lean on the desk, exhausted by the heat. The little kids are tough. It seems like the heat isn't bothering them at all. They're running around the classroom.
Do the schools in the cities have air conditioning in the classrooms?
No, they don't. They put air conditioning only in the teacher's office.
Wow. That's better than nothing. If I were the student of the school, I'd attack the teachers and take over the teacher's office.
I bet you would. You'd probably be the only one that could succeed. You'd be the first student to do that. I don't even have energy to laugh. Mion and I stop talking and we use our notebooks as a fan. I look at the empty seat. It's Rena's. Rena didn't come to school today. She called the school and told Chie-sensei she couldn't come because she's sick. I bet it's Oishi. Rena seems to be feeling down these days.
Yeah. She probably got tired from the summer heat.
Do you really think it's the summer heat?
Yeah, why?
I think it's the incident.
Maybe. It's probably that and the summer heat.
I can't even imagine how shocking it was for her to commit a murder, dismember the bodies, and get caught by her friends. We took each other's hands at the place, and we united. All of us believed that we closed the case there and that we regained peace. But is it as easy for Rena as it was for us? I think Rena hasn't been able to recover from the shock yet.
Uncle Mion thought she'd get over it if she played along with us. But I guess her pain was deeper than I thought.
What should we do to cheer her up?
The best way is to leave her alone, I think.
Hey, are you sure about that? We're her friends, you know.
You know, homesickness, right? You get lonely and you want to call home just to hear your mom's voice, but that actually makes your homesickness worse. When you're feeling lonely, the best thing you can do is to devote yourself to sports or something like that for a change.
I want her to do the club activity with us, but she doesn't want to.
I don't know about her, but people usually have a desire to depend on someone. It's a desire that makes you want to depend on somebody who supports you and sympathizes with you. Haven't you ever experienced that? You just can't stop depending on somebody that when they try to cheer you up.
Well, I don't know.
To depend on someone means to try to get more sympathy from them. You think you're comforting them, but you might be just unintentionally making them feel down more. Once they get a taste of depending on someone and getting comfort, they acquire the habit of being intoxicated by misfortunes. I think Rena knows that, too. That's why she wants to be alone right now. If she wanted to depend on us or get comfort from us, all she had to do was to stay with us and to cry all the time.
So, how can we cheer her up?
I think she'd appreciate it more if you tried to make her forget the pain than if you tried to cheer her up.
Don't comfort her, and don't cheer her up. There's nothing I can do, is there?
Did you know that the golden rule of psychologists is not to comfort the patients, and not to cheer them up? Mental trauma can only be healed by the person who has it. When someone else helped the person out of the mental trauma, even if it succeeded, they wouldn't be completely healed.
This is hitting way too close to home for me.
So, what we can do now is to wait until Rena heals on her own.
I understand that in my mind, but I just don't like the idea because it sounds cold. I clasp my hands on the back of my head and look at the ceiling. Mion laughs.
Rena will be fine as long as she has someone like you who worries about her. I'm sure she can pull herself together.
So, all I need to do is to be close to her. Sounds kind of dubious.
There's something you can do, Keiichi.
It's Rika-chan. I wonder how long she's been listening to our conversation. What is it?
You can listen to her when she wants to talk to somebody.
Is that all? I just listen and I don't need to cheer her up?
Kei-chan, people feel better when they talk to somebody. Sometimes all they need is someone who does nothing and only listens quietly. Just like me said, I think it's important for us as her friends to be there for her whenever she wants to talk to somebody.
I totally agree with Mion and Rika-chan. I was going to pat Rena on her shoulder and tell her to cheer up when I saw her, but now I know it's a unilateral action. Rena doesn't want to feel down herself. She wants to cheer up if at all possible. If I cheered her up irresponsibly, she'd be very disappointed because she'd think that I didn't understand her pain. You're right. I guess I wasn't trying to understand her mental trauma. I wanted to cheer her up, but I know now that that's just what I want to do, not what she wants me to do. Thank you, you two. I think I finally understood it now. On that day, I thought I cheered her up, but I started to doubt if it reached her heart. I might have just been dragging her someplace where I wanted her to go. I wasn't on her side in the real sense of the term. All of a sudden, Rika-chan pats my head.
Don't worry. We all know that you're on her side.
What? Did I say that out loud again?
It did reach her heart. Kei-chan, you gave her a very strong power on that day. Well, now that I think about it, what you said on that day was so genteel and actorish.
We hear footsteps from the hallway, and everybody gets back to their seats. Oh. Get seated, everyone. Class rep, please get us started.
All rise.
God. Every fucking time. We don't have the club activity today because Rena isn't here. It works for me today, because I have an errand to run. It's a small errand. My mom wants me to use the points of her point card to get some detergent. I didn't see the point of going all the way to the store just to get detergent. But my mom told me to because she was busy helping my dad with his work. Of course. I start walking toward the shopping center. I notice someone is watching me, hiding behind a distant tree. I wonder who would do such a cute thing. I stare at her to find out who it is, and then she comes up from behind the tree. Oh, Rena. Are you feeling better now? I'm about to say that, but I swallow the words. That's because Rena looks very serious. What's going on? Shh. Rena puts her index finger on her lips, tells me to be quiet, looks around carefully, and beckons me to come over to her. I have no idea what's going on, but I follow her order, shut my mouth, and run to her. What's going on? Rena gestures for me to squat down to hide in the shadow of the bush. I don't know why I have to do that, but I can ask her the questions later. I just follow her order from now. Rena looks like she's checking if nobody is following her. If it was Mio, she'd do something like this just to fool me for fun. But I know Rena doesn't do things like this as a joke. I have no idea what kind of situation I'm in right now, but I can feel the extreme tension, and I make my body small.
Good. It's okay now. I'm sorry.
Her voice makes me relax a little. Whew. What's going on?
I think someone has been following me.
What? Who would follow her? When I think about that, I realize how stupid the question is. Is it the police? Mamiya Rina and Hojo Teppai. 2 people disappeared. Even though they were nasty people, the police have to investigate it if they find out that they've been missing. It must be not that difficult to find out that Rina was visiting Rena's house often. But it should be okay. As long as they don't find those bags, it should be okay.
I don't know if it's the police or not, but I feel like someone has been watching me since the night of Watanagashi.
What do you mean? Rena stares into my eyes with a blank expression. Her eyes look as if they're assessing me. She stares at me as if she's evaluating whether I'm worth talking to about something very important. Rena squeezes her own wrist tightly, and she starts talking in a whisper.
I can tell you what's going on, but can you keep a secret?
Yeah, of course I can. If you want me to keep a secret, I won't tell anybody.
Okay, I trust you.
She smiles and looks around one more time.
They might be looking for Mio-san's scrapbooks.
Mio-san? Oh, the nurse. Takano-san? What about the scrapbooks?
The police are concealing the investigation, so I think you don't know. Takano Mio-san was murdered.
What? What? When? She tells me to be quiet. I lower my voice and let her go on.
On the night of Watanagashi, we met Mio-san and Toмотaki-san, right? They were attacked right after that. Toмотaki-san was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. He clawed at his throat and died. Mio-san was burned to death in the mountains in Gifu.
Is that true? I mean, nobody told me about that.
I know. That's because the police hasn't disclosed the investigation. These cases make the 5th in the series of mysterious deaths. So, the police decided not to disclose the incidents publicly.
I see. I understand why the police aren't disclosing the investigation, but then, where did you hear this?
Can you keep it secret? I've been in contact with Oishi-san. He's a detective from the Okinomiya police station. He told me about it.
Why did he tell you?
I don't know. He said he told me because he could trust me.
I'm stunned, but I know she isn't lying. If it was Mio, she'd be sticking her tongue out by now. But Rena wouldn't do something like this as a joke.
I think the reason why Mio-san was murdered is because of her research. Do you know she was studying the history of this village and doing ethnological research?
I've heard something along those lines. Takano-san was interested in occult and mysterious things. I remember Mion once told me that she was studying the legend of man-eating daemon of this village out of curiosity. I think that's supposed to be demon, but well.
I think she found out a very important secret about this village through her studies. Or maybe she wasn't even close to it, but they thought she was.
But wait a second. What's the secret of this village you're talking about?
I just read a few scrapbooks she wrote, but those were the ones that she was handling with extreme caution, so I think there are pretty important things written in them. So I think I know 80% of what Mio-san was trying to find out, but it's pretty crazy to be true and it's hard to believe. Right now I'm trying to find out whether Mio-san's theory is right or not.
So, what is it? What is the secret of this village? What could be so important that you might get killed once you know it? I gasp. If Rena tells me, I might get killed too.
I don't want to tell you yet, but I promise I will once I verify things. Because it's really crazy. Too crazy to be true.
What do you mean you have to verify things?
For example, I verified the existence of the maggots. People can see them without previous knowledge, but there are so many things I need to verify. They sound too crazy to be true, and I can hardly believe them if I don't verify that they're true.
Maggots? I'm totally lost now, and I want to ask her some questions, but I decide not to cut in. It's so hot out here. But Rena holds her arms as if she's cold. Rena, I'm always on your side. You can trust me.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I can tell by the way she looks that she means it. I can tell that she is involved in something very big, and that she feels lonely because she can't tell anybody about it. I have to be on her side now that she's going through a tough time like this.
You shouldn't tell anybody that you met me here today. They might try to hurt you if they found out you met me.
Okay. Isn't there anything I can do to help?
Not right now. But it's very reassuring to know that I can ask you for help when I need it. I'll depend on you someday.
Yeah. Anytime.
Shh! A car's coming!
Rena pushes my head into the bush. I let her do it, and I make myself as small as possible. Oh boy. We stay quiet for a while. I can hear a car coming closer, and after a while, a white station wagon passes through. I'm surprised at her hearing. She heard the car coming when it was still in the distance.
Did you see the plate number of the car?
What? No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I couldn't either, but I think it's the same car I saw earlier.
Are they the ones following you?
I think so. It passed by me many times today on the street where nobody usually drives. I hit every time, but it's strange.
Are they the ones? Are they the ones who killed Takano-san and Tomotaki-san? Are they looking for the scrapbooks you have?
Most likely, yes.
I don't blame her that she can't believe what's going on, because this is really crazy. Takano-san found out something very important through her studies. The people who want to hide it found out about it, and they killed her on the night of Watanagashi, copying the curse of Oyashiro-sama. They're looking for the scrapbooks, the fruits of her research, and Rena has them. That's why. They're trying to kill Rena? What about your house?
That's fine. I hid the scrapbooks in my secret hideout in the trash piles. I'm worried about my father, but he'll be fine because he really doesn't know anything about it. It's written on your face, Keiichi-kun. It says, I can't believe it because it sounds too crazy to be true. Am I right?
I want to deny it, but I feel bad to lie about it. I remain silent in the aftermath. I remain silent in the affirmative.
It's a normal reaction. I couldn't believe any of it at first when I read the first scrapbook. I finally started seeing the connection after reading all of them.
I'm sorry. I do want to help you, but I just don't know how because I don't see the whole picture of what's going on.
If I tell you, you might put yourself in danger.
You're already in danger, right? I don't mind. Don't worry about me.
Okay, I'll tell you then. It's probably the three families who killed Mio-san and Tomotaki-san. To be more specific, it's a Sonozaki family. Mi-chan's family.
Why? Okay. I need a drink, because my throat is fucking dry. Okay.
You know about the series of mysterious deaths, right?
Yeah. The betrayers of the dam conflict die every year, right?
The series of mysterious deaths is like a settlement of the dam conflict. They're trying to end the dam conflict in the true sense of the term by erasing the traitors of the village.
It does look like that in a way. Nobody really says it out loud, but everybody is suspicious that the Sonozaki family is behind it. That's what I've heard.
But if they really wanted to erase the traitors, they wouldn't have to do it on the night of Watanagashi. Why don't they kill them all at once instead of killing them one by one, using the curse and the demoning away every year? Don't you think so?
I've never used the words demoning away, but I understand she thinks they have a creepy meaning. So I decide not to cut it. Oh, maybe it's I've never heard the words.
That means that they're using the series of mysterious deaths in order to regain the sacredness of the Watanagashi festival. It's like a step-by-step event to regain the sacredness of Onigafuchi that was lost in the Meiji era. Their goal is to revive the worship of Oyashiro-sama that they used to have in primordial times.
The worship of Oyashiro-sama? Are you talking about the Furude Shrine?
Yes. Do you think people admire the Furude Shrine now? Elder people respect the shrine, but that's it. Kids think of it as a place to play, and most of the villagers think of it as a place to gather for local events. The sacredness is lost, but it's starting to revive because of the dam conflict. They took it as a good opportunity to revive the Oyashiro-sama worship.
So, you're saying that some fanatical Oyashiro-sama worshippers are behind all this?
That's what I'm saying. The worship of Oyashiro-sama was managed by the three families to begin with. So, the three families passed the supreme purpose of reviving the worship of Oyashiro-sama down to the present generation. When you think about it, you'll understand why the three families took the initiative in uniting the villagers during the Dam conflict, and why they set up the Onigafuchi Guardian's office in the Furude Shrine, citing Oyashiro-sama, who was almost forgotten at the time.
So the three families, the fanatical Oyashiro-sama worshippers, orchestrated the series of the mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa. But wait, why would they kill Takano-san?
That's because of the important secret of this village. The three families have been hiding it since the era of the primitive Onigafuchi village. If the secret is revealed, the sacredness of Oyashiro-sama will be lost. They found out that Mio-san was getting close to the secret, and that's why they killed her.
What's the important secret of this village? I don't care if I put myself in danger. I want to know.
I don't want to tell you yet. I don't want to tell you until I'm 100% sure about it. I'm pretty sure you'd laugh even if I told you right now.
Hey, do you think I'm that kind of guy?
I just need a little more time. I can't accept the truth myself because it sounds very crazy. So, I need some time. Please?
I understand.
Don't tell anybody about what we talked about today. Not even Mi-chan, Rika-chan, or Satoko-chan.
Okay.
Well, you should go now. I'll take a look around for a while before I go home. I can't be too careful when it comes to things like this.
Rena ducks low in the bush and moves away. I'm left alone here. The cry of the cicadas starts surrounding around me, and it makes it seem as if I was here alone for the whole time. I start walking, but I'm still stunned. In the end, Rena didn't tell me the secret because she was afraid of putting me in danger. But she told me clearly that there were people who want to revive the worship of Oyashiro-sama, and that they're among the three families that control the entire village. They orchestrated a series of mysterious deaths for their purpose, and they killed Takano-san because she got too close to the secret they wanted to hide. Rena met Takano-san and happened to take the scrapbooks that Takano-san wrote about her research. Rena still can't believe the secret written in the scrapbooks because it's crazy. Hey, come on, Rena. You're kidding me, right? It's like one of those comic book stories. A mysterious occult group is plotting a conspiracy? I mean, it's not funny, even if it's a joke. But Rena is right about one thing. Even if this is true, it's hard to believe. I understand why Rena wanted to wait to tell me the secret. Maybe she was just fooled by Takano-san. But Takano-san was murdered for real. Is it also for real that someone is following Rena, looking for the scrapbooks? I remember. Rena said that a white station wagon was following her. You can see white station wagons anywhere. I bet there are many in this village. Rena might be just being sensitive to everything right now. Rena hasn't recovered from the shock since that day. That's probably why she got the idea into her head that the police or someone else is coming after her. I didn't cut in while she was talking. I think I did the right thing. If I had said that it was ridiculous or something to her face, Rena wouldn't have ever trusted me ever again. Then I gasped. A white station wagon is parked on the side of the street. I'm not sure if this is the same car that passed by earlier because I didn't see the plate number. But the number of people in the car and its atmosphere looks similar to the one of earlier. And there's one thing that looks suspicious about this car. There's no reason to park here. This is a small road in the woods. There's nothing around here. No traffic lights, no vending machines, and no public phones. I probably wouldn't notice it in ordinary circumstances, but I feel something is wrong. Once I notice the oddness, it's obviously suspicious. There are 4 men in work uniforms in the station wagon. The driver is smoking a cigarette, but the other men are just sitting there doing nothing. If they wanted to take a break or have a smoke, they could have chosen a better place than here. There's a possibility that they stopped here because they had to go to the bathroom really bad, but it doesn't seem that way either. They don't look comfortable or relaxed like they would if they were taking a break. They look like they're waiting for something that's supposed to happen. There's a tension in the car. Are they waiting for Rena? No, it can't be. I don't see anybody walking around here. This road is a back road. Nobody really uses this road, let alone by car. But it can't be. I feel bad for Rena when I say this, but I think this is something that she got into her head because she's feeling victimized or something. She must be imagining things because she's still nervous from when her friends caught her in the act of killing Rena and that man. Hey, young man. I hear someone say that when I pass by the station wagon. He can't mean mean, right? He doesn't know me. So I think he was talking to one of the other people in the car. I pretend I didn't hear it, and I keep walking by, and then he says it again. With a horn this time. Hey, young man, excuse me. Are you on your way home from school? He has a strong accent, similar to that of the elder villagers. I guess he's one of the villagers, but I don't know him. I can tell he doesn't know me either, because he's not calling me by my name. Yes, I am. You've been walking on this road all the way from the school, right? You turned the corner where the stationery store is, right? Yes. So? I think they're lost. This village has many small turns, and you can easily get lost when you try to take a shortcut. So they must have been waiting for someone to ask for directions. But then he says something disturbing. Young man, do you see a girl on the way here? What? A girl with a white hat and white clothes, with a purple ribbon on it. Did you see her? They're definitely talking about Rena. No? I didn't. I wasn't ready for this. I should say I was scared. That's why my voice sounds shaky. Up until now, I was suspicious of Rena's story. I thought it was ridiculous. I actually laughed. That's why I wasn't ready at all. My heart is beating fast and I'm sweating all over. I immediately answered, no, I didn't, but it might have sounded like I was obviously lying. The driver stares into my eyes. It looks like he's trying to figure out if I'm lying or not, and my legs start shaking. I can't move a muscle. But it seems like it's the same with the men. They obviously look suspicious, and they asked a villager about a girl all of a sudden. Anybody would get suspicious. And I was right. The man breaks the ice and starts making excuses before I ask him why he wants to know about the girl. Well, no particular reason. We just passed by a girl earlier, but you're a boy, so we were just wondering. Okay. Please forget it. Sorry for the trouble, young man. We're going to go. The man starts the engine and drives away. There's nothing left after they left. That's right. Nothing. There's no reason why they had to park here. So, they were waiting for Rena? You know, that's not a good thing. Ah, boy. Lunch takeout list 2. Oh, goody. Okay. What do we got? You know what, just for the... You know what, I'm going to assume that this is Oishi because I think this is something that Oishi would probably do. Furthermore, it's important that we closely watch her father. Since he has also suffered mental shock from the divorce and has been trying hard to take care of the patient, there's a strong possibility that he may develop an induced delusional disorder. As a first step in mental care, I want you to listen to the patient's story carefully without denying it. That's the most basic of basics. However, when the patient and the listener are related, it's easy for the listener to get deeply influenced. Additionally, delusional parasitosis is widely known to make people highly impressionable, and the influence sometimes can spread throughout the whole community. I know it's probably not Oishi, but I just want an excuse to use his voice. Therefore, even if several people claim to acquire a parasitic infection, doesn't necessarily prove the existence of a parasite. Some of the phone calls to the healthcare centers for the extermination of pests are nothing but a mass delusion. Since the subject matter of the delusion in this case is extremely rabid, the patients might harm or even kill each other in abnormal ways, believing this is the treatment for the disease. They might also give up hope and commit suicide together in the worst case. This influential delusional disorder, otherwise known as shared psychotic disorder, shows a particularly strong possibility of influencing close companions. Anyone who's going to contact the patients must be made to understand that the patients are under medical treatment, and must be warned not to be influenced by the patient's delusion. Individuals who are likely to be easily influenced are the patient's family members, and people who deeply care about the patients, such as boyfriends or girlfriends. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Shit is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. Okay. So now back to the paranoia of these people following them. But I wonder, these people in a white station wagon that are looking for Rena, could it be just okay. Is Rena really being followed? If she is, that might explain things. But if she's not, then how is this vehicle looking for Rena? Because Keiichi said it himself, there are multiple white station wagons. And maybe he just came across the one station wagon that was actually looking for Rena. Plus, Rena, and he also did say that this was somebody, these were people that he didn't recognize. So I wonder. Well, I'm not really gonna know anything until I get further in. So that's where I'm going to end it. If you guys like this, be sure to let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Better make sure there's no maggots under your skin.